Good morning, Sao Paulo. This is downtown Sao Paulo walking tour, and we're a few blocks from where I'm staying this week, and it's called Rua Augusta. Very lively street neighborhood with a lot of LGBT bars, and the people party all night, then they crash as soon as the sun comes up, and then they party the next night. No, it's only on Friday and Saturday. But anyway, we're walking into downtown, old historic downtown, to do some shopping, and the prices are really good in the old downtown, kind of like LA too. You go shopping in all the old areas, the wholesale districts, and you can find some real good bargains. So Sao Paulo is kind of like that, and we're gonna go down there and pick up some things. But it's Saturday morning, and we've had really blue skies, but today's a little bit cloudy, but which is nice. We are at the beginning of Brazilian winter. So here is Roosevelt Park. So they dedicated the space to President Roosevelt as a big thank you after World War II. So there we go. There's a big skater park behind it, and there's a signage, Praça Roosevelt, Roosevelt Square. What's so interesting about Sao Paulo is that it's built on hills. And so, kind of like San Francisco, but not so dramatic, but there are some very steep hills, and riding a bike is not like in Rio de Janeiro, which is really kind of, again, easy. You're just going flat by the beach. But if you rode a bike around here, you'd be going up and down some hills. But I choose, because of the traffic, not to ride a bike. It's just crazy here, the traffic, the way people drive, and the streets, the way they're laid out. So I'm playing it safe here in Sao Paulo and not riding a bike. So we're coming up to a very, very old house. This is one of the few remaining older villas from the early 20th century. Most of them have been bought and knocked down to build hotels and high-rises. But here, it's a really cool street. It's a little windy street, and it's owned kind of almost, I think, by one family, I heard. And they have these Italian restaurants. So very popular in the evening, these restaurants. And so they built this fountain, this artwork. So it's not a public fountain. It was built by this family who owns these restaurants. And as we enter downtown, there's some really landmark 20th century architecture. A lot of it is being restored now. Downtown Sao Paulo is having a big revitalization going on. And of course, it's very led by LGBT community who are moving into downtown and helping a great deal with the revitalization. Okay. Here's one of the hospitals from the 1930s with an incredible modern structure. And the clock, it doesn't work anymore. And this old building here, it's sad that for security they built this ugly brick wall. But the way people have to live in Brazil now in the big cities is they make these gratings, these fences, to protect themselves. Here's a supermarket, well, a little supermarket. And here we're gonna have a coffee, a short coffee and some bread. So what you do is you take this, you press a button, and you get this little digital code to make your purchases. So now in the month of June, they have a festival called Festa Junina, June Festival. And it comes from northeastern Brazil. And it has all these traditions about the harvest festival. So they make special breads and cakes. So we're gonna get, what are we gonna get today? And they make these special chocolates called brigadeiros. Really, really tasty. It was like butter, chocolate, and brigadeiro. Es solo chocolate a mantequilla. Brigadeiros? No. Okay. Tá bom. Okay. Gosto. Oh. I think that's what we're getting. Oh, isso. Yeah. So we're getting a donut with the vanilla cream. Yeah, that's today's special treat. It's I forgot what they call them here, but we're gonna get a donut, and then we're gonna get a coffee at the Maraja. Okay. Ooh, that looks yummy.
Algo mais?
No.
Só isso mesmo? 4,2
Oh. I'm still trying to figure out this technology.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. So here we go. We get some little sugar for our coffee and napkins. So over here they have salgados, which are the savory pies with chicken, cheese, and ham, kind of like the French version of croissant. But anyway, we're having a donut. Opa! So there's our breakfast, special Sao Paulo treat. Yum. So this huge donut, vanilla cream filled donut, is so big, I had to cut it in half, and you eat it with a knife and fork because there's no way you can fit it in your mouth like eating a regular donut. And the coffee is one of the best coffees I've had in Brazil. It's kind of like a cappuccino. They add the hot frosted milk. It's really, really good. Okay, this is really one of the best places in Sao Paulo I've had for coffee and baked goods. Really, 2 thumbs up. So if you're ever in Sao Paulo, I highly recommend visiting Maraja. Very, very good. Okay, so after you pay your bill, it's all digital. You pop it in for exit and green light, and then you can leave. All right, so I was warned to be very, very careful with the camera, anything electronic. Street people will rob you. Being early Saturday morning, there are very few people, so I will be very cautious, but I have to record how beautiful downtown Sao Paulo is. So as we come up to the center of Sao Paulo, the historic 20th century architecture, I wanted to show you how tall the buildings are. It's just so amazing. And we come up to one of the great buildings. This is a hotel now owned by the French group Novotel, but it's iconic building. It's the Hotel Yaguara, and the interiors are mid-century, preserved with all the interior art. And we're not going to go in. Too much bother with security. Crianças, crianças. The Portuguese word is crianças for children. So yeah, it's amazing. I just like downtown Sao Paulo. Dangerous, but amazing. Okay, so here's the front of the hotel. And they have all this really great artwork, the mosaic. And then way up is a clock tower, which we'll see from a distance. Now this street is really cool. So the rule of law here is pedestrians have no right of way. Even if you have a crosswalk, it's like you have to really be careful because of the way people drive. So again, you take your life into your own hands when you walk in Sao Paulo. You just have to be very careful of traffic, regardless of you're in a pedestrian zone or you have the light with you. But see how beautiful these buildings are? And then there's the clock tower way up there, Hotel Jaguar. Now a Novotel. So tomorrow is Sunday, Domingo, and it's a really good day to go out in the city, but I want to make this video today when I go shopping into downtown. So there's the Central Library of Sao Paulo, the Biblioteca Mário de Andrade, who was a great poet, writer. And the library is holding this weekend special event, Brazilian Women's Music Festival. There's so much going on in Sao Paulo. It's like you have to pick and choose what you want to do. Just too much to do, too much fun. And here we have Camões, which is a Portuguese. He's like the Cervantes of the Portuguese language. So here's a very beautiful library. So as we're coming into a sketchy block, I'll turn off the camera, but here is the Biblioteca and their Mulheres da Música do Brasil festival going on. Music. And on the side here, I just don't understand. They have a Cervantes statue. So, you know, Cervantes, I gotta find out why they're honoring a Spanish writer instead of a Portuguese writer. All right, here goes the camera off. All right, up ahead is the famous opera house, Teatro Municipal São Paulo. Designed, of course, after the Paris Opera, just like the Municipal Rio de Janeiro. And if you can't believe this, very dirty, ugly street used to be very chic 100 years ago. And now it's like the rich people don't even dare walk on the street here. They just come to the theater when there's a great opera. And here is very interesting. It used to, 1911, it used to be the major department store in Sao Paulo. It was empty for many years. And now it has become reopened as a shopping mall. So the revitalization of Sao Paulo is happening, but just like downtown LA, it's really difficult with all the homeless people and the drugs. And they have bookstore and a little bar and restaurant, very popular here. So there you go. Beautiful Teatro Municipal and the major downtown shopping area. But we're going to Centro Histórico of Sao Paulo, which there used to be a river a long time ago, but then they of course diverted the river and they put a highway in. Now they removed the highway, they put a tunnel underneath, and they put in, as you can see, traffic below. There's a big park. So the highway goes underneath the park where there once was a river. And of course, the ingenuity of Brazilians with their architecture in the 20th century is incredible. And there's a huge flag of Brazil. There's no wind today, so you can't see the flag waving. But this weekend they're having some big festival down here, and they're prepping up for it on the other side. But here you can see the big department store, huge. And the front is the Prefectura do Municipal de São Paulo, the city of Sao Paulo City Hall. And there's going to be bikes for rent, I believe. Anyway, there's always so much to do in Sao Paulo. I love this city. It's just amazing, amazing, amazing city. Okay, so we're crossing the bridge where there used to be a river. Now we're into Centro Histórico, and we'll find some very interesting Belle Époque buildings from the late 19th century. But most of them have been removed to, again, you know, build up, because there are only 3 stories. And most of the Sao Paulo is like 10 stories, 20 stories, so many tall buildings. That's why they call Sao Paulo the New York of South America. And so we gotta make sure while we're filming, no sketchy people come up behind us. So here is a 1909 building, and it is now a dentist practice business. Dental Halloween colors, very crazy. But here is a beautiful, beautiful Art Nouveau building. Now, as I'm walking, there's a strong smell of urine because the homeless people, they relieve themselves here at night. Kind of nasty, but I had to show you this Art Nouveau. So beautiful. Again, so many beautiful buildings that need restoration here in Centro Histórico of Sao Paulo. And here's one of the major shopping streets in Centro Histórico. So it's still early in the morning, and being Saturday, it's going to get packed by this afternoon with shoppers, because everyone's looking for a bargain. You know, you got to stretch your real. That's what they call the Brazilian currency, is the Brazilian real. And what I like is they pump out music, so you have, again, motivation to shop with music. So you can see above are the old building facades. Here's another beauty, Art Nouveau. Beautiful Art Nouveau, 1907. My friends, I think this is where I'm gonna buy some shoes. See, yesterday I was here. Ontem veio. I saw some shoes here that I liked. Where are they? Well, we're gonna turn off the camera. So there's a lot of pop-up stores. They buy surplus and then they sell super cheap here. Like this ball for $3. I paid $7 in Parachi for those kids to buy them a little ball. So again, good prices here in Sao Paulo Centro Histórico. And I came across a lovely music shop. They have a lot of beautiful sheet music, but I gave up buying sheet music, so no more sheet music hobby for me. All right. What's really interesting here, we come to area where they built this building in the middle of a square. So it's a very unusual shaped building in where it used to be open square. But across is a very famous restaurant that has live music, Casa de Francisca, and they sell shows that you can buy and visit the restaurant at night. But it's for another trip. Okay, we're almost done visiting this street. Okay, so this is Festa Junina with all the decorations and the music. And then they have a lot of plaid shirts. Everyone wears plaid shirts. I don't know why. But this building used to be a pharmacy, I believe, or a medical building, Art Nouveau. It's so beautiful, but now it's a shoe store. But one of the most beautiful buildings in downtown Sao Paulo. And here's that unusual building from a distance, modernism, Brazilian modernism. And there's a penthouse on top with a lot of trees and plants. So I wonder who lives up there. And of course, everywhere you go in the world, there's McDonald's. They call it Meckies here in Brazil. But McDonald's is like, it's so horrible that, again, American ingenuity invented this horrible fast food that poisons people, makes them fat and obese. And so, yeah, our great gift to the world, McDonald's. Okay, so I think we're done shopping here, enjoying the music, and the last few things to see here in historic Centro of Sao Paulo is the cathedral. And it's actually one of the most sketchiest areas of the city because the square in front of the cathedral is filled with homeless people. So again, there's a lot of robberies here. So you really have to hold on to all your possessions for dear life because a lot of robberies happen here. But what's so cool is, again, it's really historic here with a lot of architecture. Early 20th century, they just really got rich here in Sao Paulo. And so there's a lot of important buildings here which are being preserved. Mostly big, huge corporations own them and can afford to restore them and preserve them. So here's a bit of the dichotomy of architecture that you have in Sao Paulo. You have there an Art Deco modern building next to a Beaux-Arts building from the late 19th century. There is a lovely, lovely bookstore in this beautiful building, one of the most beautiful buildings in Sao Paulo. Very much like Prague, what you see in Prague or Vienna. And here's the Cathedral of Sao Paulo. So they built these huge underground parking structures, of course, to accommodate churchgoers who need to come to church, but you don't want to walk. You need to drive into Sao Paulo, park underneath, safely with a lot of security. Bom dia. Obrigado. Thank you so much for your work, keeping tourists safe. Yeah. So yeah, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful church. Well, after that really nice conversation with the tourist police, I'm down here at the end of the plaza with a big monument to the first priest to bring Catholicism and Christianity to Brazil, Padre José Anchieta. And so Catholic Church is battling with the Protestant churches because, yeah, a lot of Brazilians are leaving the Catholic Church because, just like in America, they find more community with the other Christian churches. And the buildings across the plaza are really, really amazing. So you have this really hotel governor, which I can't imagine staying there. It must be really, really bad inside. And then you have this a beautiful modern building, and then an Art Deco building, which has they're fixing up on the inside. I went on a tour, an amazing interior. Okay, so we're walking down to the oldest church in Sao Paulo. All right, here we come to the old historical church, the first church of Sao Paulo. And all around it, Sao Paulo grew and grew and grew to all this beautiful architecture. So a lot of government buildings, Secretary of Justice, like palace. So Sao Paulo. So here it says 1554. The Jesuits came with Brother José Anchieta. And one of the great buildings in downtown historic Sao Paulo is a Art Deco skyscraper where you can now visit the top. We did that last year, so we're not doing it this year. So you're not gonna see it on this video, but it is a beautiful building. So here behind the church, they have a patio with the big old tree and nice fountain, and it's so quiet and peaceful down here. So they have events here where a lot of people can come for religious events or church festivals. And what's cool is there's a view out here. So as I said earlier, Sao Paulo is a bunch of hills, and so we're up on a hill, and below are other streets, and there's that beautiful Art Deco skyscraper. More views of the beautiful architecture of downtown Sao Paulo. And here's a monument to the founding, I guess, of the church and the reconciliation between the church and the indigenous people. Because we all know the Catholic Church was not very kind to indigenous people. It was very, very sad how many people died and were enslaved with the guidance of the Catholic Church and the crowns of Europe, Portugal and Spain, what they did to all the indigenous people. Alrighty, there is one last interesting thing back here to show, is that they have the original adobe foundations preserved behind glass, very much like the California missions, the use of adobe brick building, and an original architectural artifact, iconic capiter. Okay. Okay, onward and upward. We're going to go to a monastery, the famous São Bento Monastery. That's still an active monastery, but it's in the here in this heart of downtown. But what I love is all the orchids. In Brazil, you just have to put orchids outside and they grow naturally. Okay. So the museum, we're gonna skip the museum, but anyway, here we go. So we're on a bridge over this street that goes down the hill, and there's some interesting architecture. São Paulo, one of the biggest cities in the world. The biggest city in Brazil. So this is a financial district, markets, Associação Comercial de São Paulo. And everyone's looking for business. Bom dia, bom dia. Edifícios grandes, wow. Grande, grande, grande. It really feels like New York, New Yorkie. So here in the financial business district of downtown Sao Paulo, it's Saturday and very empty because people don't work on Saturday here. But still the shops are open. And they love American style clothes. The ever popular Nescafe. Nescafe. Oh, and down here is a really, really beautiful building. One of the great Art Deco treasures of Brazil is right up ahead. Even the facade on the outside is decorative. Can't see the detail with my camera that much, but the Banco de São Paulo, one of the great Art Deco buildings of the world. The ornate grading of the doors, the facade, and the interior is also decorative, but it's closed today. And here we have they call it the lighthouse. That's the Art Deco building, which we went up last year. We're not gonna go again. And today it's like all quiet, but they have a restaurant and people come here for lunch. Very nice restaurant, Salve Jorge. And they set up tables outside, but only Monday through Friday. So around the corner is the monastery, but here is another great building. Very famous building, reminds me of New York, San Francisco, the 1910s, when they were developing all this skyscraper architecture. And there we go. The monastery's down the street here. So the craziness of Sao Paulo is, here's a hard rock concert going right in front of the most beautiful monastery in the city. Talk about dichotomy. Wow. So this is the monastery of São Bento, and they have Gregorian. So we're here in the little gift shop of the Abbey Monastery, and the monks, they make bread every day, and they also make a beer. So we're gonna buy bread and beer from São Bento Monastery. So this is our St. Michael bread and a golden ale, which we'll take home and enjoy tonight from the monks of São Bento. Well, we got our St. Michael bread and a golden ale, and the poor monks, they have to put up with all this noise and the homeless outside. They live behind these walls. Crazy Sao Paulo, but I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. So this is the end of my little walking tour video of historic Sao Paulo, and we're gonna go back home and drop off the goodies and then go do some exercise.
Isso aí não é legal, então estamos aqui para conscientizar as pessoas que cuidem bem dos seus animais.
Alô, Bocatã, que show de todo o Brasil, grande Minas Automobilística, como sempre, né? É problema aqui para todo o Brasil. É fazer a sua cidade, aquele show maravilhoso, cavalgada.
So Sao Paulo is famous for the mortadella sandwiches, which the Italians brought. And they pile on a lot of mortadella into a pão francês with maybe an egg and grilled onions. So this is the specialty of Sao Paulo, mortadella.